Yes, guys, I'm so welcome to Ace Podcast Nation for the first of two shows this evening. And tonight we're talking Cardiff City for the next sort of 40, 50 minutes. Bit of a reaction to yesterday's game. Talk about the upcoming Christmas period, stuff like that. But just as we wait for a few latecomers and that alike, we will give a shout out to the Sports Social Podcast Network, as always, for hosting all our audio shows. Please do check out their network, their sites, their websites, their socials. They got all sorts of podcasts, especially sport ones, particularly. Like they've got so many different ones. David Seaman's, they've got cricket, Formula One, loads of different stuff, and of course all the stuff produced by us at Ace Podcast Nation as well, which is always good for us, and we appreciate them supporting us as always. And of course we're live on Twitter, and we're live on not Twitter, is it? It's X now. And we're live on YouTube as well. So welcome. Cardiff City and Birmingham. Jesus Christ, that was painful. Painful. I've seen all sorts of like reviews from people. Some people have been more level-headed. Some people, I saw someone say earlier that if they ever play like that again, they're not going to renew their season ticket, and they left after an hour. And it's wild to me. Like the last 2 seasons, if not more, we've been fighting relegation, like, or close to, and it's like the manager's taken the team on very quickly in a short space of time. But also, like, I was speaking to Will last night at the game, and you forget, like, when you're working on frees and loans, you're effectively getting players who other clubs don't want, or they're young players who need first team football, who are going to be inconsistent. And we're like basing a lot of our team on those types of players. So it's going to be inconsistent. We haven't had our best player for over half the season. And some people will say, I saw someone say today he's a waste of a wage. Well, he's not. We knew we were only probably going to get a maximum of like 20 odd games out of him, if that. You needed a proper plan for that, for when he wasn't there. And I'm sure some people will differ in the opinion, but after watching Cobble start last night, I'm still of the opinion that if you give him a run of games, particularly if we just had a striker, like I wish they would play Robinson as the number 9 up front, because the amount of times last night Colwell got on the ball in good areas in space, and he just had no one to pass to. Like they're all just stood still. Not just like when Colwell had the ball, but he a couple of times got into some good positions, and the wingers are kind of just useless, and the strikers are hiding behind. Like they just stood still, not making any runs. And unfortunately, without Joe Rolls in midfield, I really thought we just didn't have anyone capable of playing the ball through the lines and finding the wingers or Colwell. And then Colwell dropped deep a couple of times, and there was one instance where he dropped deep, popped it straight back off, and then when he went back into the space, he found loads of space, and it was like, now give it to him, and they just didn't. But that's natural for that number 10 type role. Is if they don't get the ball, they go searching for it and they go looking for it, and it makes it frustrating. When I saw Robinson getting warmed up and getting ready to come on, I was saying to Will and my son, I was like saying, they better not take Colwell off, because he looks the only one likely to create something. And then when I saw that it wasn't him coming off for Robinson, I got really excited, and I thought, oh, here we go. He's going to play Robinson up front. And he didn't. He changed the formation. And I understand changing the formation because he wanted to, we were losing and whatnot. But you're asking 𝐷𝐸 to do so much work then with Robinson and Colwell in front of him. And I think 𝐷𝐸 fit, sharp, not fatigued 𝐷𝐸 can probably do that single pivot role. But like, it's asking so much of someone who's looked tired lately anyway. But then also add into that, like, that he's just played, you played like an hour, 65 minutes or whatever. I think it's difficult, and it is what it is. But like, really, like, there's not a lot you can do with it. But we need players. We need a striker. We need, I think we need a striker, a midfielder, and a defender. Being honest, and I think you still got to be realistic. Like, I think I said the other day, and it was slightly tongue in cheek, but also there was a hint of optimism in there, and that was if we signed Danny Ward, Nico Williams on loan, Jordan James, and Kiefer Moore, then I think we'd be ready set up to try and get in the playoffs this year. And I kind of stand by that because they're all good players and they strengthen the team. But like, Jordan James was excellent last night. He was probably the best, certainly the best orthodox midfielder on the pitch. So I'd be amazed if Birmingham and Rooney were going to sell him, because he seems to play now that Rooney's taken over. So it's kind of one of those things. But Cardiff were poor. I talked about the other day, like, because I saw a lot of people complaining about the sideways passing, and it's all right to play possession football. I think that's the way the game is going anyway, but it has been for the last few years. It's okay. You can play possession football if there's a purpose, and the purpose of possession football is to try and draw the other team onto you, whether that's to draw the press and play through it, draw the press and play over it, or hit a team on the counter attack, or when you're pressing, win the ball high up the pitch and get them on the transition. The problem being, so often we go side to side, and only 𝐷𝐸t𝐻 and Colwell are looking. They're the only two people who are like showing for the ball and saying, "I want the football." Wintle kind of like always goes sideways, kind of hiding behind the players a lot, behind the markers a lot. The wingers, like Grant, works really hard, but I think his offensive movement is quite lacking sometimes, or certainly was last night. I thought 𝐷𝐸t𝐻 was I quite like 𝐷𝐸t𝐻. I prefer him through the middle, but I thought he was quite poor on the wing. But a couple of times he was free and didn't get the ball. And I think when 𝐷𝐸t𝐻 first came in, is one of the things that, if you remember, when I did the scout report on 𝐷𝐸t𝐻, one of the things I was excited by was the accuracy of his sort of switch ball and his ability to switch play from one side to the other accurately and quickly. And he kind of seems to have stopped doing that over the last couple of games. There was a couple of times where he sort of picked it up on the inside left in the first half, in our half, and there was a ball across field, if he had done it sort of pretty quick, to 𝐷𝐸t𝐻, and 𝐷𝐸t𝐻 was almost not through on goal, but through, and he just didn't do it. Like, he went short or went sideways. Defensively, I think Cardiff look mega shaky at the back, and I don't want to be the guy who's like Runnison this, Runnison that, but since Runnison has come in, the back five just doesn't look as solid. It doesn't look as confident. It doesn't look as comfortable on the ball. It doesn't look as comfortable defending. Like, everything, there's just something there which is making all of them nervy. And look, I put a post up, or I replied to a comment earlier, and I think like the atmosphere in the stadium at the moment is awful. Like, it's really poor. But it's not just the lack of noise and chanting and the rest of it. It's the groans and the anxiety and the negativity. Like, if you're Runnison, like a keeper who's made a couple of mistakes and nervous, and that, like, the groans and the anxiety and the frustration doesn't make you play better. It doesn't make you like suddenly find your form and find your confidence, and the rest of it just doesn't happen. And that goes for a few players. Like, I understand fans are frustrated. I understand that expectations have changed over the season as we started well and we had some really good performances, and people are suddenly like, oh, we could get in the playoffs here. Like, we need to remember where we are. We're effectively 6 months, not even 6 months into a rebuild. With a new manager, you've got to give him, he hasn't even had a proper transfer window where he can sign players. Like, let's give the manager time. Yes, just because you're giving the manager time, mind, and just because you're going to be patient with the manager and you're going to get behind the team, and that doesn't mean that people aren't open for criticism. As long as this, like I think criticism of performance is fine. Criticism, like personal criticism and stuff like that, I'm not here for that. That's not me. If you want to see people like slagging off players and abusing players, this is not a channel for you, like, you know. But if you want to talk about the football side of things, and I think the manager has created, as much as I love the manager, I got a lot of time for him. I think he's doing a great job, and I think if we stick with him, he'll see it through and he'll complete the job. But he has brought the goalkeeper situation on himself. 𝐷𝐬l's body language before the game looked like someone who's super pissed off, and he wasn't happy. And I don't know what's going on with it, because I can't see a reason on the performances in the games why Runnison is playing. And on top of that, he's making the defenders nervous. And that makes it difficult. Like, that makes it even more difficult. That makes it more difficult for the players as well, because that anxiety, that panicking, that nervous in the defence, it goes through to the other players further up the field. I thought we missed Joe Rawls last night, but I still think Birmingham were absolutely 100%. Birmingham were there for the taking, without a shadow of a doubt. They were there for the taking. I thought they worked hard. They had a couple of players who clearly have got a bit of quality, but I didn't think they played particularly well. I didn't think, you know, they were like amazing and they outplayed us. I thought both teams were quite poor, and I think ultimately we let them off a bit. If we had got at them early doors and got an early goal, they would have gone to pieces, because they've been in such poor form. They've been struggling. So, you know, if they'd found themselves 1 or 2 goals down early doors, they would have gone to pieces. But we're very passive, and I think that makes it super frustrating, because I think everyone can see that Birmingham weren't full of confidence, but they grew into the game as the game went on, an hour or so, and just before halftime, they sort of, you know, they got a bit of confidence and they started to move. But like, it's just, they were there, you know, to get out early, and we didn't, and it felt like a missed opportunity. But you can only play the players you've got, and we haven't got a shed load of options. We haven't got like world-class players and the FIFA generation of, you know, bench players and stuff. Like, we just haven't got that. So we're limited into what we can do. You know, Ruben Corwell's a young local lad. I think he's done as much as he could with his cameos this season, pretty much. And I thought, if anyone was going to create something last night, it was probably going to be him. However, that doesn't mean that he's not, you know, devoid of criticism. There was things he could have done better. There was decisions he could have made better. Like the one where he shot over, like, I don't blame him for shooting there. He was running at the defence. Defence was backing off, and there wasn't exactly a shitload of movement in terms of in front of him, in terms of trying to get, you know, play a through ball or something. The centre forward was static, didn't run behind. All right, the wingers, they may have been in or the right wing, I think, might have been in like a semi-decent position. But I mean, with the centre backs backing off, we know he's got a shot on him. I don't blame him for shooting in that situation whatsoever. And also, nobody else looked like creating anything, which is, again, is a bit of a worry when your kind of young academy player is the only one who looks like creating any chances. That's problematic for me, because it's like, should have some senior players in there to do more than that. You should be able to kind of have someone in there who can do something. I'm trying to think who else I thought did all right. Like, Gutas did all right, but everything's like, I thought defensively, I thought Gutas and McGuinness did all right. McGuinness was a little bit sloppy on the ball sometimes. Like, we were very sloppy on the ball last night in in the second half, particularly, we gave the ball away at the back so much. But it's because there's no one showing for the ball. And when we changed the formation, so 𝐷𝐻e𝐿t was like a single pivot on his own. The only person showing for the ball really was 𝐷𝐻e𝐿t. So if Collins or McGuinness or 𝐷u𝐻e𝐿t or Romeo had the ball, if 𝐷𝐻e𝐿t wasn't on, they had no one to pass to. So they just went sideways, back to the keeper, sideways. There was just no movement. But that was common throughout the whole game. There was no movement. If you go back and you look at Cardiff's best performances this year, the Swansea game, the Huddersfield game, some of the football they played in the Bristol game, but not the whole game as a whole. Like, if you go back and look at some of the games that Cardiff have played well in this year, a lot of that has come from high wingers, lots of movement off the ball. If you use that Swansea game as a particular benchmark, because I think that was our best performance on the ball, our best performance overall. And I think if you use that as a benchmark, the things which stood out for me in that game was the movement off the ball, the work rate, the wingers high and wide, and getting the ball through the lines, not just passing side to side to side to side. It was passing side to side, foot on the ball, Swansea pressed, bang, 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 through the midfield, through Wolves, through 𝐷𝐻e𝐿t, out to the wingers, up to Ramsey, and then attack. Like, there was conviction with what they were doing. The possession based, it wasn't just possession for the sake of it. It was possession with an aim to use the football properly. And I think we've lost our way a little bit with that. The players look tired mentally, I think, which, you know, when you're halfway through the season, it's probably problematic. But then also, if you think, if NG doesn't get injured, that back four stays and plays 90 minutes again. Like, they've played every single game, and there's not much you could do about it. Like, what can you do? Because unless you give like P𝐨d𝐜a𝐬 a go, if he's out now, you give you've got Romeo, who's like struggling a little bit. So it's sort of like I thought Romeo had points where he did all right. Like, I thought he did okay. I know some people blame him for the goal, but like, yeah, I thought Romeo did okay. I thought he looked better than he did the other week when he played. I think he'll get better as he progresses, but he still looks a little bit rusty. But I thought, like, the goal is like 𝐷utas plays him onside. The keeper, I'm not sure what he was doing. Really, I really don't know. And 𝐷utas obviously misses it on the line as well. But I also, like, where we were sat, we were right above the challenge on 𝐷𝐸t. I really thought it was like a free kick. Like, I couldn't work out why it wasn't a free kick. Whereas I know I spoke to people who were in other parts of the ground and they didn't think it was a free kick. But I really thought it was a foul. Like, he didn't get anywhere near the ball. The ref was weird as well. Like, I think people blaming the ref, but the ref was weird. Like, the first 40 minutes, the ref kind of gave Cardiff a lot of the like 50-50 fouls and the little niggly ones. And then, so all of a sudden, just before half time, he didn't give that free kick. And then after in the second half, didn't give a lot and gave a lot to Birmingham. Maybe that's just part and parcel of football. I don't think we lost because of the referee. I think we lost because we haven't got the quality and depth. Ultimately, if we had a very good striker, I think we could have got a couple of goals last night, because I think the amount of times that we had the ball in dangerous areas and there's just no movement, the amount of times when you had 𝐷𝐻e𝐿t looking to pass sort of to the wingers or up to the striker and there was no one there, Colwell on the ball, and they're all stood still. And even as early as I think it was like the 9th minute, I think it was McGuinness had the ball just received it like on the edge of the box, and he's looked forward to play through the lines or up to someone, and every single player was stood still. Half of them weren't even facing the ball, and it was just like, what are you doing? Like, what? Why do none of you want the football? Like, got to take responsibility and want the ball, and do something with it. You know, sometimes you won't be able to play through the lines and progress the field, but at least if you show for the ball, you can pop it off first time and then rotate the play and move up the field or go a bit long. But nobody wants the ball. Nobody's moving off the ball. And I don't know whether it's like a fear and anxiety because the crowd is getting frustrated, or whether it's just like a lack of conviction or bravery. I don't know what it is, but it's frustrating to watch because there was opportunities to make something happen yesterday. There was positions and little spots where we could have done something, and Cardiff they didn't take advantage of that. Another thing which was a bit of a gripe, I don't want to sound like I'm moaning, but like well, the one other thing I noticed is we were so slow to take free kicks, throw-ins, corners. We never look to get play going again quickly. We never look to catch a team off guard. We always let them get into position, get their players sorted, get everyone back, make sure everyone's marking someone. And it's like, geez, like even little things like, if you've got a free kick around the halfway line, just take it quick and get the ball moving, get out wide and let's go. Let's build. Let's put them under a bit of pressure. But no, it's like slow, lumbered, laboured. And I think that's what the whole performance felt like, was just very laboured, which is annoying to see because we've all seen Cardiff play exceptionally well this year. And it's frustrating then because you know that this team is capable. They just don't seem capable of like getting a bit of, or should I say they seem to have lost their consistency. So, let's see if Rob's going to they just lacking a bit of consistency. But like my message to any Cardiff City fan is like, you've got to stick with a manager, you've got to stick with the team. Like if you want the board to do the right things, like not sacking managers out of the blue and spending money in January, you've also got to back the managers. And I think a lot of the togetherness is still there with the players, but the togetherness in terms of pack play and stuff like that, it's just not there at the moment. And this is where we are with the players we got, unfortunately. Let's bring in right.
Hello, mate. How we doing?
Jesus, that is a t-shirt.
You what? Sorry.
That is a t-shirt.
Yeah, just come back from training. We had to do Christmas jumpers and t-shirts and all that for the boys, like, and the kids. So
here we go. There we go.
Yeah,
but
in the festive spirit, mate.
That's the way, mate. Full of festive spirit, me. Full of festive spirit. Yeah, so it's like I've just been talking about the game yesterday, and just it's a bit frustrating. But like, I was speaking to Will at the game like yesterday, right? And like, when you can only sign free players and loan players, you're effectively getting one of two things: players which teams don't want, or talented youngsters who need to play. Like that's it. And if your team's made up of that kind of demographic, you're going to lack consistency because young players lack consistency and free players are free for a reason. 𝐷iopis looks knackered. And it's just, it's one of them things, mate. I just think people have got to temper their expectations a little bit because the squad is what it is. We all know that it needs like 2 or 3, 4 maybe players. I think you can criticize the decision to keep playing the keeper. Like no one seems to get that, and it's it's making the defense nervy, and they don't look the same unit that they were earlier in the season. But like on a positive note, I thought 𝐷𝐜well was pretty good last night, and I know some people don't agree, but like my boy who was sat next to me, like watched. That's all he watched was 𝐷𝐜well, because he likes him because he's local boy and he's young, but also he likes him because he plays the same position.
Yeah.
And he was like just talking to me all the way through, just going, "Oh, look at that, he's movement." And the amount of times he either got the ball and everyone was just stood still. He had no one to pass to, no movement, no nothing. Or he would have to drop deep to try and get it because no one was capable of playing like up the field or progressing the ball up the field. But got to take the positives and just try and they just all look knackered, mate, don't they?
Yeah, 1,000%, mate. I won't be the first to say it. January can't come quick enough, can they? The team just looks so out of path at the minute. And it just goes to show, I think, it says a lot about things about the squad where he's hardly changed it, really. Let's be honest, have he?
No. I mean, the back four's played, and like if NG hadn't been injured yesterday, like even that back four would have played 90 minutes again yesterday. They didn't because NG got injured, and I think like they look like it as well, like
Yeah, like he obviously doesn't trust Adams. I know he's coming back from a big injury. He clearly doesn't trust him to start. Obviously 𝐷𝐲, he's obviously going to be out the door in January.
Mokro as well, isn't it?
Yeah, Mokro as well. Yeah, so I can completely forget about him.
I don't think either of them were even on the bench yesterday, which says a lot when Joe Rolls was out and they didn't pick either one of them. Like I would say that probably means they've done in terms of Cardiff City, but
yeah, I think it says a lot there. It speaks volumes, and he obviously doesn't trust them. And I think that they're clearly, well, I think the manager clearly thinks that we're a good 3 or 4 players shy from where he needs to be. He doesn't obviously, I don't think he trusts that 𝐷𝐜well, because he's literally just been brought in, even when the boys are back. What's that? Sorry?
Just sitting on the bench, isn't he? He's like,
well, that's it.
He gets minutes or nothing.
Well, that's it. He's coming as a makeshift left back once or twice, haven't he? But he obviously doesn't trust him, so you may as well cut ties and send him back in January. I'm not sure if it's a season-long loan or a 6-month loan for him, but either way, he's obviously. I think he needs to go back if it's a 12-month. I thought Romeo done okay when he come on for Perry, but I think
again though he looks rusty, doesn't he?
For a better right back, haven't we? I think he's not. Romeo was good in a below average team. He done well. I thought he shone to some respect in a below average team, but if they're going to kick on, I don't think he's anywhere near the first team now. He's not the standard. You are sorry.
He's back up basically now, isn't he?
Like, and he's not a bad backup to have with experience, etc. But like I said, I don't want to sing them out because I don't think he done horrendous yesterday. No. But I just think that, and I know a lot of people, including yourself, so I just don't think Karlan Grant is good enough. I'm sorry, I just don't think he's good enough.
Funny enough.
What's that? Sorry,
I was going to say, funny enough, I've stuck up for him a lot in the last couple of months because of the amount of work he does to protect Collins. But one thing I noticed yesterday, looking at it, it's different now when you're watching in the ground, and I've noticed different things in different games this year. But one thing I noticed last night is that yes, he works hard and he gets back, but his movement going forward is quite poor. Like like I said, the 𝐷𝐬 and Caldwell were the only two like actually genuinely showing I want the ball, give me the ball, and I'll do something with it. And the amount of times they get it, turn, look up, and the two wingers are like stood next to the fullbacks.
Yeah.
And the centre forward stood by the centre forward, by the centre back, and there's just nothing, no movement, no one, not one coming short, one going in behind, nothing. And it's just like, what are they supposed to do then? Like, I know people complaining that we just go side to side or backwards, but it's like, if the three attacking options in front of you are all stood next to a defender, what are you supposed to do?
Was even throw-ins? It was even throw-ins.
Oh, they just take so slow, mate.
It was even throw-ins, and it was just so static, particularly on the right. It was just so static. Like, no one was trying to. All right, granted, I know the Brum were touch tight from throw-ins and things like that, but the amount of throw-ins we had, and there was just no movement. All they were doing was just backing into the defender. There was no urgency to like turn on the heels, going behind for a throw over the top or something like that. I just think
we never take any free kicks, corners, throw-ins, anything quickly and try and keep the other catch.
Yeah.
We never tried to catch Birmingham sleeping. It was always let them get their players in position, let them mark the players, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, like, why are you giving them time? You lose even before you're losing the game, but especially after you're losing the game. Like, how about you try and catch them out, try and get a ball moving, try a bit of urgency, get a crowd behind you, just something. And like, you can't unless the manager is given a strict instruction to take your time and slow things down for set pieces, which would be weird. Like, that's on the players. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not the managers. Like, that's on that's stuff which you learn when you're a kid, to take quick corners, quick free kicks, quick throw-ins. And it's just weird to me that like we just took so much time to do everything, because it rubs off into the game because there's no urgency from set pieces. There's no urgency then when you got the ball. So yes, what I'm saying, or what I said, is right. Like, there was no movement off the ball, but like, there's no urgency to force anything or create anything. And like, God, I was thinking this morning, right? Imagine if you took Caldwell out of that side last night and just put whoever in there, like, we would have just created nothing. Like, and we didn't create much. But like, if you took 𝐷𝐬 and Caldwell out of that team last night and maybe put in Rawls and Wintle, say if Rawls was fit, and some Robinson or something, like, we would have done nothing, because no one else wanted the ball. Like, I'm quite a big fan of Wintle. I think he does a lot of the unseen work for a centre midfielder, but he offers nothing like in terms of progressing play forward. Whereas Joe Rawls, who also does a lot of the unseen stuff, and I think that's why Joe Rawls works quite well with 𝐷𝐬, is Joe Rawls will pass sideways and backwards. It's been a criticism against him over the years, but this season he's looked to go forward because he's got 𝐷𝐬 behind him or next to him to kind of cover the defensive aspect of his game. So he is the player who would have probably found, a Caldwell or something like that. But the players look tired and lethargic, but you can also create your own luck. And I think like we didn't do a lot in terms of trying to create our own luck. We didn't even, with a couple of minutes to go, like chucking the ball in the box and long throws and stuff like this, just to, make the defenders deal with an awkward bouncing ball, or like, yes, all right, we want to play football a certain way, but you can still, like, when you're a goal behind and there's 5 minutes of injury time left, just chuck it in a mixer. Like, you've got to adapt as you go along. And we just don't. The fans have adapted, man. Their expectations are like out of this world compared to where they were at the start of the season, like, which is like, that's understandable because the performances have been good, so your expectations change. But you've got to just be realistic in it and just get, like, the atmosphere in the ground is horrible. bad. Like,
was it that bad last night?
Oh, it just everything is just groan, moan, no, like very little sort of singing and chanting, and it was mainly the Birmingham fans you could hear. It was very like subdued, and then as the game went on, it just got more and more like frustration and anxiety. And I just think like that doesn't help the players whatsoever. It doesn't give them confidence to try something or to do something, or to, it just makes them more want to get rid of the ball, like, you know. But I don't know, mate. I'd like to see there be a big uplift from the crowd now going into Christmas, because the championship's hard, mate, as we all know. We all know any team can beat any team, no matter form, no matter league position. I'd like to see the fans really get behind the manager and the team and try and lift them over Christmas, and just get as many points as we can over Christmas, and then kind of just see where the land lies. Because hopefully the club have been proactive, and they've already been talking to 𝐷r𝐸k𝐸 or whoever they want to sign, so that come 1st of January, they can make their move and get it done quickly. Like, I'd like to think that the club have been proactive, but you just never know with Cardiff, you know? Like, they might do what they've done previously, and then 1st of January, they'll go, right, who should we sign then? And it's like, oh, Jesus.
I don't think they will this year. I
think the manager's quite proactive.
There's one or two, not even necessarily 𝐷r𝐸k𝐸. I'd like to think, I'm quite confident in thinking that come, if not the first, the second game in January, there'll be at least one or two heads through the door by then, I think. I don't think that Bullet will wait. I think he's already done a lot of business already, I think, him and his team.
I think it's out of his hands, though, to a certain extent. Like, he can give them his list of players he wants, but like the board have got to do their bit, haven't they, and back him as best they can. And look, I'm not saying we don't even have to. I'm not saying go and get into a shitload of debt and make the same mistakes we've made in the past. I'm not saying that at all. What I was saying is, like, there's ways and means. There's loans. There's cheap signings. There's players you can get in which will improve the squad. And they need to do it ASAP, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I do think that I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if we don't hear pretty much within day after New Year's Day that it's one or two boys through the door. Wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. But then, having said that, what Cardiff's like, you know, you never know, I suppose. But I strongly think that there'll be a couple of boys like through the door ready to go as soon as the window opens. I think a couple of deals are already done, personally. I don't know. I wouldn't say who, like, I wouldn't have a clue who, but I reckon there's at least two ready to go come the 1st of January.
It's interesting to me because I see a lot of people saying, like, they think the 𝐷r𝐸k𝐸 deal's done.
I don't think it is.
Well, what's interesting to me about it, and I've said this a couple of times recently, is like, I was really confident that we'd go back in for him. Like, I was super confident because I knew that he had come like within a whisker of coming in the summer. So it was like, it makes sense that we'd go back in January because he hasn't played a lot. And he obviously wants to play ahead of this Wales playoff. So I was like, right, okay, that's fine. So they'll go back in for him in January. That could give the squad a lift. And then as soon as the manager started talking about it so openly, I was like, because every other time he says, oh, no, I can't talk about the players, team's players. So it's one or two things. Either they've already got it over the line, which I don't think they're able to because they're still under embargo, or he's kind of building that up. So the media reports on that, and he's going to try and sign like that 𝐶e𝐈𝐶e𝐈 or something like that, just because some of those Turkish players we've been linked with, who are very good players, would probably get linked with some bigger clubs than us, you know. So I wonder if that's the plan. But just because they're very good players, mate, and they're Turkish international, Greek internationals, the championship's hard, mate, and it's different to any other league in the world, and I don't think it guarantees that it'll carry over. It might, but it might not.
Well, that's the thing. I think you've hit the nail on the head there, mate. Because, you know, I think with Dimmy and 𝐷𝐲, I think, you know, it could have potentially gone frigging either way, couldn't it? These two lads from Greece, and with a good pedigree, don't get me wrong, they could have easily have sunk. And you know, as Cardiff fans, you know, we're obviously bloody grateful of how well they've done. But you know, it's a different animal, isn't it? Coming over to English football, British football, whatever you want to call it. But I don't know. It'd be nice. It would be nice to have a couple more Turks come in, Greeks come in to us and see, because you know it's been a while since we've had a nice European backbone, I suppose. Because
I just want some players which are going to make the first team better, mate. To be honest, whether that's like those Welsh players that I talked about, whether that's some Turks or Greek players or like whatever, like it doesn't. Enough fuss. Like I just need some players who are going to make us better, and
I think Ruben's going in January.
I mean, if they're gonna move him on in January, they better bring someone in who's going to be good, because I am not convinced by Robinson, and Ramsey is not going to play week in, week out. And like I said, I thought Colwell was about as good as anyone yesterday.
Goes in January. I would not be surprised. If not January, he'd be gone in the summer, I think, personally.
Mate, I wish they would just play, like, particularly like watching yesterday when I saw Robinson getting ready. I was like, oh, is he going to bring Colwell up now? I would have been really disappointed if he had, because it felt like Colwell was the only one who was going to make something happen. And he brought the striker off, and I thought, oh, here we go. Robinson up front, Colwell behind. This is what I've been saying. And then he put him in. He took Wintle off as well, and I was just like, ah. Like Robinson's the best. I've been saying this since the summer. Robinson's the best finisher we got.
Yeah,
and they just keep playing him as like a number 10 or like a deep lying striker, and it just doesn't work. Like he has had the odd good game. Don't get me wrong, and he most of the time he works hard and stuff, but like I just think he would offer so much more as an out and out number 9. Like, you know.
I wonder if Grant would do better as a number 9.
Well, yeah, in fairness, I think it was Reese who said in the comments just now, if you look at the wide players we got, other than Tanner, they are all probably more suited to playing striker. Like Mate's better as a striker. Grant looks like he's got the attributes to be a striker. Robinson, like we could do with a Dowder, I think would be, and like hopefully he's not far off now. That would be a big lift because he's a proper winger. But he might end up being left back because Collins is going to the what's it called?
Is he going? Is he?
I don't know if he's definitely going, but I mean I would be surprised if he doesn't. Just to round us off, mate, because I got to go and do Rodri gigs and football now. Straight after. I just got to quickly ask you something, mate. Where did I just see? So the woman who refereed Cardiff versus Norwich, mate, right? Who was absolutely slaughtered because she was fucking dreadful, has been promoted to the Premier League. So I leave you with that this Christmas. Outrageous. And then they wonder why VAR and the refereeing standards is so bad because they promote bad referees. But there we go, mate.
Picking them boxes back.
Yeah, well, so like I said, I can't remember who I said it to, someone the other day. I don't really give a shit whether you're a man or a woman.
No, it's biased.
Like if you're in if you work for Sky or BT or whatever it's called now, you should be the best at what, like you should be the best presenter, you should be the best pundits, and you should be the best commentators. They don't have that. And the ticking boxes doesn't just go for gender, it also goes for ex-pros and like getting certain players who've played for certain teams for certain games. Well, no, just have the best fucking pundits, the best commentators, and the best presenters. Same for refereeing. The Premier League should have, and the Championship should have the best referees in the UK. They don't. It's just as simple as that. And
I know you're going to shoot off.
Yeah.
I think you're shoot off. Have you seen Joey Barton's tweets?
I have, yeah. We'll talk about that on Monday on the member show. He's lost his marbles, mate.
He's gone.
He's been taking some of that Conor McGregor Coca-Cola.
He's been drinking that Tiger juice from Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, mate. You know what I mean, right? Like, I will say one thing on it, right? Joey Barton has got no moral high ground over anyone ever. But, like, I was listening to him speak, so not tweet, but speak. When he spoke about it, what he was saying, I think would have resonated with more people. But the way he tweeted it, everyone just straight away is just like,
oh mate, he's non-stop.
Joey.
He's non-stop.
He's got nothing to do with it. Got no job at the moment. Like, so
I know you're gonna cover it in a different show, but like,
he's arguing with someone I know as well on there.
Is he?
He's funny, mate.
Mate, it's unreal. Like,
it's just crazy, mate. So I just listened to a voice note from Rodri. He's running late, he is. So.
Oh, you can keep me for a bit longer now, can you?
Yeah, I'll keep you for a couple of more minutes, mate.
Oh, thanks, mate. You're so kind.
I know, I'm very kind like that. What
Merry Christmas.
Like, when you look at the Cardiff sort of the run in and that over Christmas, what is it? Like, what do you think of it? Like, do you think Cardiff are going to pick up many points? Because they got some hard games over the next few. Like, you got Hull away, Sheffield Wednesday away. It's quite brutal. Then you got Plymouth home and Leicester home. Like, some hard games there, mate, isn't it?
I mean, you asked me that 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago.
I'd have fancied all of them except Leicester.
Yeah. How are without Philogene? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure that's the club he's with at the moment.
Yeah,
and he's been on absolute fire.
Yeah, he's been on fire.
Since he's been injured, Hull have been on a bit of a downward spiral. So there's no no coincidence there. You'd say that most of them are winnable games. Like, so it's Hull Wednesday away, and then Plymouth home, and then Leicester, isn't it?
No, Sheffield Wednesday. Hull away, Sheffield Wednesday away, 2 days before Christmas, and then you got Plymouth and Leicester home. Yeah, Sheffield Wednesday we should win, but it's away from home, 2 days before Christmas. I do not fancy us to get anything there whatsoever.
Maybe this is negative, but given where we are right now, I would take
fucking 4 points at the moment.
Yeah, I'd take
with 4 games.
Up to 6 points. I'd take like 5, 6
points. 6 points would be nice, wouldn't
it? Listen, Plymouth.
You've got to be realistic, mate, haven't you? Like Leicester.
Yeah, well, that's it. I think there's
lost
no point.
A couple all season.
We don't want to be falling massively away, and we don't want to get dragged in. The main thing is just we keep the points ticking over now until January. That's a fact of the matter. The main thing is, for me, again, maybe this is negative, but the only game that we lose is Leicester over that period. And every other game is, I think, Plymouth. Got to be Plymouth, but you obviously we said about the Brum. But I think if we can get 4 or 5 points, 6 points from those games, I think it'll plateau us a little bit. We'll fall away probably from the playoffs even more, but we won't get dragged into where we don't want to be. And I think you'll keep us in a nice little place, ready then for when January comes in. Like I said, maybe that's negative of me, and maybe I should be more.
My worry is my worry is, you got 2 difficult away games, which are fairly long distance travelling, right before Christmas. Then you got a home game against Plymouth. Plymouth have been they've either been very good or very bad. And you just don't know which Plymouth's going to turn out. Then you got Leicester. We're only 10 points, and Reece has just said it there, we're only 10 points off the relegation zone. So you've got to be realistic. In this league, you go on a bad run.
Yeah.
That 10 points is nothing.
Yeah.
So
that can be cut in a few weeks. Realistically,
if you lost all four of those games, I reckon we'd be bang down there again.
I don't think we're going to lose all 4 games. I think, like I said, realistically,
I fancy us to beat Leicester, mate, at home. I do.
Yeah,
I thought we did a really good job against Leicester, and we were unlucky not to get a win against them.
Didn't they lose? Am I right in saying? Did they lose last night? Was that another promotion team?
I shall check.
I'm sure they were losing against somebody. I could be chatting on my ass.
They won 3-2 against Millwall.
I
think they might have come back.
Yeah, maybe then.
Yeah, comeback win. They scored in the 78th minute to go 3-2 up.
Yeah, maybe
3-1.
So I wouldn't completely chat on my arse then.
No, not completely.
Just a little bit out of the side of it. No, I think let's be realistic. So we just got to keep the points taking over at the moment. That's the fact of the matter. I think it's easy to say now, but I think I could. I seen that result come in last night.
Yeah, I said that to my boy on the way over there.
Just from watching the first few minutes, you could see it. They wanted it more. They were more energized. I just think that it could happen. And I'm not sure if he's watching. James Costley, you prick, you fucking cursed us, you knobhead, because he actually called it as well. But he actually called it out loud. He didn't do like everybody else did and say inside, yeah. But no, mate, I think if we can, pretty much average at least a point a game over this period, I think drag us through to January and we move and regroup and go again. I'd just love to know, because I can't seem to get an answer on when not even so much at Ramsey, but old Dowd is back. I can't seem to get an answer from someone who can give us a definitive answer on it. Do you know?
I have an idea. I have an idea.
You have an idea?
I have an idea, but I wouldn't say it's like a concrete thing.
Oh, is this a Darren Purse exclusive?
No.
Go on. You gonna share?
No, what's the 1st of January game? QPR away was the aim for both of them, but
you're right.
Whether that's true or not, I don't know. You might see them off the bench over Christmas, but like Darren said, they're running, so they're not far off. In terms, they're weeks. It's weeks rather than months. So
have you messaged Percy yet?
Yeah.
Have you sorted some of him?
Yeah, he's going to come do something in January. He said, tell that Rob Boyle stalker to leave him alone. Like he said.
Yeah, I must admit, I played it cool. I haven't messaged him yet. So
I'll sort you out, mate. I'll sort you out.
I know, but I know. And to be fair, I know he did a couple, but I do believe him. So
he's the soundest of the sound. He is.
Yeah,
mate. I got a chip. I have.
All right then.
Sorry, bud. I gotta go to the toilet before I start with him now, and he's Roger's running a bit late.
Show then. Right, we'll go to the B show.
We're gonna go to the B show. So if you go to the channel, we'll be on again now, but it's just on a different stream. Charity raffle, by the way. You get your raffle tickets. Contact me, and I'll tell you how to pay. £5 a strip. Michael Chopra event tomorrow is going to be a cracker. So you can buy tickets for the raffle ticket online if you want. £5 a strip. Loads of wicked prizes. And still some tickets left for the Chopra.
Sorry, before you finish, what do you have to say? Up a flower.
Up the fucking fuck.